When your dog curls up next to you every night, have you ever thought about what they would do if you never woke up? Most people laugh it off. Oh, they'd probably just wait by the door. Or they've heard the joke. Your dog would eat you, and they brush it past as dark humor. But here's the thing. It's not just a joke. It has actually happened. And the real answer is far more complicated, and honestly, far more touching than most people ever realize. Because understanding what your dog would do in that moment reveals something about the bond between you that most owners spend a lifetime missing. Let's start with what's really going on. Most people hear, your dog might eat you after you die, and immediately picture something cold, something betrayal-like, the loyal companion suddenly turning predator. Here's what's actually happening. Documented cases, reported by forensic scientists and medical examiners going back decades, confirm that dogs have consumed the remains of deceased owners. It's been recorded in enough cases that researchers have a term for it: post-mortem consumption. But here's what most people don't realize. The vast majority of these cases involve dogs who waited, sometimes for days, sometimes longer. Think about that for a second. They weren't predators circling a fallen target. They were companions, waiting by the person they loved, growing increasingly distressed until survival instinct eventually took over. That's not betrayal. That's a creature caught between devotion and biology. And devotion usually wins for a long, long time. And by the way, there's something even more revealing about how dogs respond in those first hours. We'll get to that at the end. And it might change how you see your dog completely. Here's where it gets genuinely surprising. A 2022 analysis published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior reviewed dozens of documented cases of post-mortem consumption by domestic dogs. What the researchers found wasn't what you'd expect from an animal acting purely on instinct. In most cases, the dog showed clear signs of distress before any consumption began. Vocalization, pacing, attempts to rouse the owner. Dogs were often found lying beside or on top of the body, a behavior ethologists describe as a grief-adjacent response. The consumption, when it occurred, was almost always preceded by a period of waiting, watching, not eating the food already available in the home. Animal cognition research shows that dogs understand death differently than we once believed. They detect physiological changes, the cessation of breathing, the shift in scent, but their behavioral response is not predatory arousal. It more closely resembles separation anxiety. Your dog doesn't see a meal. They see the absence of you, and that absence, to them, is one of the most distressing things they can experience. Here's something most owners never think about. Your dog has been preparing for this possibility their entire life, not in a morbid way, but in the most biologically honest way imaginable. Dogs have up to 300 million olfactory receptors in their nose. Humans have about 6 million. They don't just smell you, they read you, your hormones, your health, your emotional state. Every day, your dog is processing a chemical portrait of who you are. When that portrait changes, when breathing stops, when circulation ceases, when the body begins its natural process, your dog knows before any medical instrument would. They know within minutes, sometimes within seconds. And their first response is not hunger, it is contact. They nudge, they paw, they bark, they lie down and press against you, using the same communication they've used since they were puppies, trying to get a response. This is your dog using the deepest tools of their bond with you, in the moment they need it most. And hey, if this is making you see your dog differently, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more dog lovers who actually want to understand what their dog is really saying. To really understand this, you have to go back thousands of years. Before dogs were pets, they were pack animals. In a pack, a dead member was a resource, a source of calories in an environment where calories meant survival. The instinct to consume the deceased was not cruel. It was adaptive. It kept the living alive. But here's what happened over 15,000 years of domestication. Dogs transferred their pack loyalty entirely onto us. You are not just their owner. To your dog, you are their pack. You are the center of their social world in a way that has no human equivalent.
So when survival instinct eventually overrides grief, and it does, in cases of prolonged isolation with no food source, it's not a corruption of the bond. It's the original pack instinct emerging from underneath 15,000 years of love. What's remarkable is how long that love holds it back. Here's something that reframes everything.
Researchers and forensic investigators who have studied these cases consistently note one thing: the delay. In most documented situations, consumption did not begin for days. In some cases, over a week. Your dog doesn't do this with a stranger. They don't do it with a neighbor they've barely met. The cases researchers study almost exclusively involve the primary caregiver, the person the dog considered their person. What this means is extraordinary. The bond your dog has with you is strong enough to suppress one of the oldest survival instincts in the animal kingdom for days on end. They are not indifferent to your absence. They are devastated by it, and they stay. They stay next to you, confused and grieving, using every communication tool they have to try to bring you back, long past the point where any wild animal would have moved on. You are not just important to your dog. You are, in the most literal biological sense, irreplaceable. Remember earlier when I said there was something revealing about how dogs respond in those first hours? This is what I meant. What forensic and behavioral researchers have noted, again and again, is that the behavior of a dog in the immediate aftermath of an owner's death looks almost identical to what dogs do when their owner simply leaves the house.
They wait by the door. They circle the space where you were. They vocalize. They press against your belongings. The difference is this: when you leave, they expect you back. The anxiety is temporary. When you don't come back, when the scent tells them something permanent has happened, that waiting behavior doesn't stop. It intensifies. It continues for days. This is your dog doing, in the hardest possible moment, exactly what they do every single day when you're at work. They wait for you. They believe you're coming back. That's not an animal that sees you as a resource. That's an animal that has built their entire emotional world around your presence. Most owners never realize that the way their dog waits by the door every evening is a small rehearsal of the most profound loyalty imaginable. That's not cute. That's devotion in its most honest form. Here's one more thing worth knowing. Dogs who lose their primary human, whether through death, long absence, or rehoming, often show symptoms that behavioral scientists now describe as canine grief: loss of appetite, lethargy, increased vocalization at night, searching behavior, where the dog repeatedly returns to spaces the person occupied. These are not attention-seeking behaviors. They are genuine responses to loss. If your dog begins showing these signs after any significant change, a family member moving out, a loss in the household, a major disruption in routine, don't dismiss it. Your dog is telling you something. They're telling you that someone they loved is gone, and they don't know why. Respond to it. Spend more time with them. Maintain routines. Let them stay close. They are not being dramatic. They are grieving the way a creature grieves when the center of their world disappears. Don't ignore it. So, will your dog eat you after you die? The honest answer is maybe, eventually, under certain conditions. The science says it's possible, and documented cases confirm it happens. But the fuller answer, the one that actually matters, is this: before any of that, your dog will wait for you. They will try to wake you. They will lie beside you. They will stay in the room where they last felt your warmth, waiting for the sound of your voice, for days. That's not an animal acting on instinct. That's an animal whose love for you is stronger than the oldest survival drive they carry. The question most people ask is, would my dog eat me? The question they should be asking is, how long would my dog stay? And the answer to that one, that's not dark. That's not unsettling. That's your dog choosing you over and over, even after you're gone. That was never a small thing, and it shouldn't be small to you either.